conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You tried to convince me it was all in my head, and I felt like it's that you was me instead. I wanted to rock with you, roll with you. Said you was my baby girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna leave a picture. Off with somebody else, off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a... Lately I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, choose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk.
Greetings, welcome to another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. It's another beautiful Tuesday evening, and we are here with you on this platform. I want to encourage you to, join us on the YouTube platform. That is, we're going to be, very much more active in the more recent times. Facebook is, cutting the videos every 30 days, and so we're still going to be live on Facebook. We're still going to be live on Twitch. But we want to encourage you to go on over to our YouTube platform. And if you have not subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube platform and also share it. Like and share it so that other folks can also join us on that platform. Good evening, Oli. Good evening, Laya Miga. Good evening, the entire Eastern Caribbean. Good evening to you all. Good morning to in some cases, depending on where you are. It's a pleasure to have you locked in with us here for another edition of The Topics. And as usual, we will have my co-host, Ras Banky, Shabazz King. He's already logged in, but he's going to be back in a bit. So if you're hearing the crickets in the background, it's probably because his door is not closed yet. And it's all a part of nature, So, I already have FedEx a package of cricket feed, so that he can, feed the crickets while we are having this show. So I don't know if they have arrived as yet, but we're working on that in the meantime. We will also be joined later on by some special guests. They were here with us on the platform before, but they're going to be back this evening to give us some updates on what's been going on and what happened their week of activity, among other things. And so we are going to be looking forward to linking up with Higher Heights, Rastafari organization, and they're going to be with us. So we already have that lined up among a number of topics that we are going to be discussing, this evening. We're looking forward to your involvement and your participation, and so you can weigh in your comments on the YouTube platform or on the Facebook page. Generally, the comments, pop up on the screen here, and or I would seek to follow on, various platforms so that we can, have your full participation. The number to call in if you want to be a part of the program is 1-869-662-7196. That's 1-869-662-7196. That's the number to call in if you want to be a part of the show. But we should have a very interesting package for you this evening. So as Banky get himself together, I'm just gonna get him to say good evening and welcome to the listening public, and then we get into some of the topics that we have here on the platform. So Shabazz, greetings, welcome to another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network.
Yes, good evening, Yasin, and good evening to the listening viewers of Real Entertainment Network. And greatly appreciate the guys tuning in another Tuesday evening. There are different media outlets going having different talk shows, and you always choose this network. So you really got to always show appreciation. Also, good evening, folks in Oli and Laya Mega. I think it's maybe it's your first time listener to this show. It's an educational show. More or less, we will still touch different topics and different views what's going on within St. Kitts and Nevis. So, looking forward for the discussion this evening. So, let me say good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands of St. Saban Station, St. Bart's, and the other neighboring islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the BVI, also going Montserrat, and Antigua and Barbuda, and the folks over in Bermuda, also folks over in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad, and Tobago, and also the folks in the diaspora, North America, from Alaska, come over on the mainland, up to from Canada, down to Maine, straight down to the Florida Keys, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, Boston, wherever you're at the Sonoy Voice. Also the folks over in Europe, England, appreciate the different time zone, and you're still listening, and over in Taiwan, and the Asian world, and also folks over in Indonesia, and folks listening, and still have folks in Costa Rica, or students over there studying agriculture. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever is appropriate. Welcome, and looking forward for the topics this evening. Yason?
Yes, greetings, Banky, and it's another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. What's the weather like on your neck of the woods? I realize that past couple of days there've been a lot of rains on Kitts and Nevis. How did that affect you personally on the farm? And what's the feedback from probably other farmers on your side?
Well, from my farm part of it, everything is smooth. I mean, my farm is like a golf course with I keep the grass, we keep a nice land with everything just cut. I don't use herbicides, so and I don't use plowing. So if you come on my farm, it's a watermelon running under grass and just maintain with the walker so the soil keep breaking down. So I can walk on my farm barefoot all day, like a sponge, no mud, nothing like that. So my farm is set up where children can come like a playground, run around, you can exercise on my farm, run around and stuff like that. It's designed like that. If you're handicapped, you can drive in, park up, and just enjoy the farm the same way the school bus. It doesn't matter. It is designed like that. So the rain is a blessing for me. No matter how heavy it's fall, it wouldn't have any moving of soil, so it wouldn't have any erosion because I say I have the grass and the hill throughout the whole farm 100%. So I'll just cut a lot through the fruit trees and the vegetables and stuff like that. So I wouldn't have any movement of soil. On the beds, only way and it's fully drip irrigation, and where plant is where is remain. So I'll just mold around the plant, each plant, and to the side of the beds is grass. So I wouldn't have any movement. So not too much rainfall, and then I have a good airflow, so the evaporation rate will happen quick. So the water so would have a longer time what most farm might have with long moisture holding in the soil and created issues. But so I don't have any issues. The melon welcome the rain, so everything coming nicely and stuff like that. Running, spreading, and I do pruning of the melon also. Tip when they start to run and about to flower, then I break off the tip so I could get more shoots and at the same time get bigger melon. So on the whole, Nevis, I mean, I drove on the island when the rain was falling, so you have one or two areas, but what was Nevis didn't have any problem. The problem was in St. Kitts, really, where you see the hospital, the airport, it practically didn't have any roof. More rain falling through the airport than were falling outside. So I guess somebody got this work going on. What do you go for the airport? I understand that. and the roads, the proper engineering for the roads, with all that flooding and all them stuff. These things shouldn't be happening in this time with the kind of money that we have. And we got students and people going out and studying every day. But experiences count, and sometimes you have to listen to the people living in the community. If you live in Fountain and can go fix the roads as an engineer, and me start to do what I want, I got to ask the community, how does the water flow? Which water come from which side? If you don't consult in some communities, you'll make a big blunder. And these things
True.
shows. You see,
True.
nothing made experience in a virgin, because everything look around us, all these churches around us, is we build them. We tend to forget these things. Is we build them, 200 years, 300 years is just the other day, and we build them.
But
Because
Banky,
we live
as
long.
you
This
spoke
was supposed
about
to understand, see.
the
Yes.
water situation, don't you think that by now, we should have started to look at ways in which we could capture
No. No.
some of that
No.
rainwater, especially for
No.
farmers. If we're
Never work
really
yourself.
seeking to improve the farming industry, and we know farming is going to require water, and then we also know that too, rainwater is one of the best water also for the farm. So if
Of
we could
course.
find ways of capturing some of that water instead of just allowing it to just run and go straight down into the ocean, don't you think that that would be wise? That as you speak about young engineers and so on, devise things that can seek to some of these issues. It don't fall every day, but when it does, shouldn't we have some mechanisms in place to assist with things like this?
This thing will happen, if we are serious. But if we are not happy, we wouldn't take the time and putting money in those infrastructure. If you look at tourism, there never no amount of money that they would not put into tourism. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to bringing in the extra airlift, they go out and they find these airlines to come in, Bled Joe, Continental, Delta, because they're serious. They're pushing real estate. We're not pushing agriculture, yes, son. We've been here talking. We're talking here. We just keep repeating ourselves, for the last 5 years. We're like a cow, we regurgitate and regurgitate. But we have to do it, because hope eventually will stick. Because everything we keep saying, playing out in front of our face right now. You see,
Well,
because these
well,
things.
that's part of
Yes,
what we do, and we have to seek to help to educate the masses. I mean, as a farmer educator myself, I know that's how it works. You sometimes have to
yes,
come back
son.
and repeat the information so that it um
I have a caller calling in right now. Yes, son, Reggie.
yeah man, accept
So let
the
me take
call,
the
no problem.
call. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, blessed Banky.
Yes, I.
Plus Genesis here.
Yes,
Yeah, just
I. Yes, go ahead.
Jackson as well.
Yeah, you're live. You're live. You're live on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just telling you in coming up, so we can get in. So
You say can't get in. Start. Try it over again.
yes, I mean, tell you, when I press on it, it just not come up at all.
The same link.
You send it to me to message.
Let me send it to you on your phone now. I never send a link on your phone
Pause
before.
your mic back and deal with that, and
Yeah.
I'll probably do something in the meantime while you sort that out. That is our guests that should be on the program that we're really trying to sort out. They seem to be having some technical difficulty, and so in the meantime, the Nevis Community Development Steel Orchestra, was at the EBJ Harmonic Steel Orchestra from the Soul of My Pan 10th anniversary celebration held on Sunday, May 18th. And it is said that their performance was nothing short of immaculate, a true display of talent, rhythm, and cultural pride. Congratulations on representing us with excellence, and that's coming in from the Department of Community Affairs and Nevis, and so they want to really, send some congratulations to the NDC Steel Orchestra that represented, and I am seeing some pictures here, some very lovely young people. And when young people are doing things on the positive, we definitely have to give them as much kudos as possible. A lot of the times, we're always upfront when they're doing negative things, and by right too, we should be upfront and chastising them and seeking to get them back on the right path and so on. But at the same time, when they're doing wonderful things, we should also seek to highlight them and give them some encouragement as we continue. Yes. So Ross Genesis, yeah, I see he's in. Maybe you could turn your phone the next way, so you get a better view. If you turn it, what's that now? Vertical or horizontal? Horizontal. Yeah, if you turn it horizontal, you should get a better coverage on the screen. So just turn it like sideways, long ways, and you should have a better coverage in the screen. Yeah, but so that's what's happening there in terms of the Nevis community services department. This month is also the Agriculture Awareness Month, and they have a number of activities that's taking place as well. On Tuesday, which would have been today, or should be tonight, there should be livestock farmers training, and that should be at the Red Cross building. Should have started at 7 p.m. Topic supplement feeding and semi-intensive systems. And then tomorrow and Thursday from 9 a.m. There is open house at the vet station, at the veterinary clinic on Nevis. And so those are some of the activities taking place on Nevis in relation to Agriculture Awareness Month on Nevis. Ministry of Agriculture continues, and as we continue, I want to also take a little bit of time to send out some congratulations. Reggie, yeah, pause the mic in the meantime. There's an option for you to pause the mic if you want to pause the mic while you all have your own conversation. In the meantime, there's a little thing on the screen, you will see that. But anyway, Shabazz, we have Brigo and Genesis here, and I suppose they're gonna be giving us an update on the week of activities that they would have had, and give us some up to date and a little bit of what's going on with Higher Heights Rastafari organization and some feedback generally. So while we have them online, let's take the time and give them that space. So greetings, Ras Brigo.
Blessed love. Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I the First. Greetings, my brothers. The week of activities started with some showers of blessing, which we are extremely grateful for. We were unable to do anything on the farm on Sunday because it was so wet and rainy. However, on Monday, we had the radio quiz on the radio stations, on radio, Freedom FM, and Vision Radio. It's not completed yet because all of the questions haven't been answered as yet. So it will prolong to the course of the week, the radio quiz. Now, last evening, we had the lecture discussion with Brother Blake at the Jessups Community Center, and that went down well. It was a very inspirational session, very thought-provoking, and but there was only one disappointment, is that the attendance wasn't what we really expected. It fell short in that area. However, we are still grateful for those who came, and I'm sure those who came left with something. If they came empty-handed, they left with something to think about for the future, and that lives up to date. Today we have a kind of relaxed day. Today we're with you guys again to give an update, and so we just have to look forward to the upcoming activities. On tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll be on the Mark program. I think it will be hosted by Eric Evelyn. So we'll be on there from 8 until, and then on Thursday, we hope to embark on our project delivering hygienical items to the housebound elderly throughout the island, and also some food hampers as well. And then we get down to Friday. Friday we go into the Ivor Walters Primary School, and there'll be a lecture discussion conducted by Ras Aya and Ras Iba, and they will deal with the historic development surrounding Morning Star. And there's a lot of history there that is not popular with our locals. And so these guys will highlight those areas. And then on Saturday at 11 a.m., we kick off with the Natural Festival, where we'll be in the villa from 11 to 11. Come and get anything you want local. Everything and anything local will be there. And so we're looking forward to that. Jen, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Well, also, I would like to let the general public know that the quiz is ongoing. So to keep listening to the radio stations, which is Van Radio, Vision 2020, and also Freedom Radio. And there you can answer any, I think each radio station have 3 questions. So you still have a chance to win a top-up. So keep listening to the radio stations and keep answering the questions and support High Heights Rastafari movement.
May I add here?
Yes, go ahead.
That on Saturday, we hope to have a medical tent, a tent where you can come and get your checkup, get whatever ailments you have, you can get it checked out there, all for free. Dr. Hobson, in conjunction with the Health Promotional Unit, will be having a booth where they will disseminate information and tips and whatever you need in the area of health on that day. And that's additional. That's a bonus, I should say.
All right, that sounds fantastic, and it's good to really, allow people to recognize the contributions that are being made by the Rastafari community, because I think a lot of the times things are being done, but folks might not necessarily know about what's being done, and I'm really happy that you guys are making the effort to do this and publicize it and seeking to, as much as possible, get it out to the media. We are grateful, and that's one of the reasons why we with open arms welcome you guys, because it's a part of what we believe in as well. And so we would want to, as much as possible, encourage the folks to support Higher Heights as they move on to higher heights with Rastafari upliftment within Sinkis Nevis and around the world on a whole. The show tomorrow, I am hopeful that seeing that you would be in the presence of the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Cannabis, medical cannabis, so to speak, that some of these things would be things that you would not be shy about engaging the minister on. Even though you're getting the opportunity to be a part of the show and to help promote and so on, we also have to be able to look at the areas where things needs to be addressed as well. But the what about the activity coming up for is it Saturday, the what you call it, the event, the show, what's the
Natural
feedback so
Fest.
far in terms of Natural Fest? Yes, sorry. Natural Fest. What's the feedback so far with that? Any big names that we should look forward to in terms of performances and so on? Any new events that folks who would be thinking of coming out to that event could look forward to?
What I would say upfront is that this entire event is designed to promote those underprivileged or those who hasn't gotten the type of exposure. Or should I put it this way, saying we're creating a platform whereby young business people or entrepreneurs can exhibit their product and get an opportunity to expand. And that is the main goal. So
Okay.
the sideshow is all about promoting those who have the talent and don't have the opportunity or haven't been a bit shy, whatever the case is. It's providing you with a platform where you can come and exhibit your stuff, right? And giving you a push in that regard. So most of our artists are coming out, maybe they're strong already and, but then they're not too established, I should say. They're local people, and we're focusing on promoting anything and everything local.
Okay. As you move forward, getting a lot of this publicity for this week of activities. Moving forward, are you looking at eventually setting up your own maybe website, or have some sort of Facebook page or some sort of social media presence, so that in the future you could be consistently putting out information on a regular basis? Because I think it would be helpful, but I don't know if that's something that you guys have been thinking about at this point or planning. You care to share?
Certainly. I can tell you up front that we have a Facebook page. The problem is that it hasn't been manned as effectively as we want to. So coming into the new term, we hope to remedy that situation and assign somebody to deal with that. So every time we have an event or have anything to post, they'll be responsible for dealing with that aspect of it on the Facebook page and those internet medium.
Nice. Yes, I just thought of asking because I know that that's the way the world is going, now, so to speak, and we're at a point now where we do need to use whatever means to some extent to be able to get our message and information out and so forth. And so I give thanks to that. Banky, is there anything that you wanna ask or put forward to the High Heights Rastafari organization? Your mic can pause, Banky.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just want to commend the guys them and the activities they've been putting out for the week of this month, and the activities coming up, especially I think it's the natural market. That's what we call it, Drigo.
Natural Fest.
Natural festival.
Natural Fest, yes. It's a good venture, and definitely when I leave the farm, I'll pass through in the evening and show my face and enjoy taking a little bit before I reach home to the family and stuff like that. So I just so you guys gotta big up yourself and comment and keep up the good work. It's all about consistency, and you'll find here and there where you need to tweak here and there, and you're gonna just continue to grow and grow. So sometimes we might tell ourselves we're not doing enough, but then once you're doing something, you're doing much, because some people not doing anything at all. So sometimes we got to give ourselves a clap and a hug sometime. You know what I'm saying? So always remember that. So yeah, keep up the good works, definitely. I'll show my face there. If I did remember when there was the thing, I wanted to be a part of the discussion when they had the gentleman, but I didn't remember the day. That's the problem. So
Okay.
sometimes when events are keeping, you need to refresh and remind the public by sending out that particular event. Like when Saturday when we're coming up for
Yes.
the natural fest, you keep when you come to promote, you're up to the day of the activity. That's the most important time. You got to remind people. You see them. You just can't never stop promoting. So you always got to remind people for these things. All right. So it's not just doing it and leave it there. You just do it up until the same day of the activity. You keep sending out stuff to remind people. So it's something you just have to put somebody in charge of media and promotion and stuff like that, and So, but otherwise, keep up the good work, Virgin.
Yeah, man. Respect
Yes,
to the
sir.
Lord.
Yes, and also remember you guys going and the mark tomorrow, so you are going to ask the minister about the herb and how come you not talk about the herb. We're really going on with that. I got the man in front of their face, so you have to ask him what you have to ask him. Then what about agriculture and all the things? They're the same thing, Ain't no petty things, You understand? Because people are listening. So ask this
Well,
question.
see what happened, Banky? Like I said the last time we were on your show, is that
Yes.
we intend to use all the resources available to us.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, man.
And getting on that medium, on the mark, it's a big medium. It's they cover a wide space. A lot of listeners
Yes.
all over the world. And so the herb is a part of us. And so we cannot go there without discussing that and and expressing our dissatisfaction at the commission and whatever they come up with in there. Because I am saying, when it comes to the ganja business, you need to empower your local folks. And how could you do that if there is no laws in place to protect your local? I mean, all the price we have paid, right? The bus head, the broken limbs, the broken foot, the shooting and whatever else, and the beating. What are we getting for that? What is the compensation for that? You know what I mean?
Reparation.
All rights have been chopped on over the years.
Yes, right.
Right? So what? A natural plan, God-given plan. Right?
Yes.
Now I'm saying you have an opportunity to at least make us feel a little bit more at ease by protecting us. No foreign company supposed to come in the federation and invest in a cannabis industry without partnering with a local.
But I'm trying to understand.
Whether it's
I'm trying to understand. So who are you going to ask that? Who are you going to ask that?
I intend to.
Ask who that?
I intend to. Because you see
but
what I'm
remember
saying?
the minister never speak.
saying,
Remember the minister never speak. Remember the minister never speak on the cannabis. He never spoke on it. So that's what I'm asking you. He never spoke on cannabis ever. So what are you saying?
I know why.
When you put it, what you say? The man never ever talk about ganja and a virgin. So what you say there? Me trying to understand what you really saying. Who you put that?
He would have he would have tried to avoid it. I know he will.
Yes. So
But
everybody will be watching you, you know. So you're
my
gonna be the first person to confront him on cannabis live, you know. So the world watching you and Reggie. So this guy don't get history. So Mr. Lion, this thing is serious, you know. So
Alright.
remember that. Nobody never asked this man this question live in front of the face, you know, which party gonna be uncomfortable in a virgin. So
That's true.
everybody listening,
That's true.
I will be listening.
Here we are, you know.
Everybody will be listening. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah,
So as long as you
I
understand
gonna
that.
be
Okay.
Man, I'm sorry.
I gonna be logging in tomorrow as well because I would want to hear that discussion. And I I have a question. I have a question that I want you guys to ask as well because here's the part that I have, right. So we have the medical cannabis board, our medical cannabis authority, which opened up on St. Kitts recently, the office. Medical cannabis is under the Ministry of Agriculture. However, the 56 grams, the 5 trees, they get in license for large or designated areas, they fall
But
under
you
a
ain't got
total
that.
different ministry. That falls under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs. And that
Yes.
ministry is headed by the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley. Now, what I want to know is if there is a branch on Nevis or arm on Nevis that represents that ministry, because it's a federal ministry, and I don't know of any Minister of Ecclesiastic Affairs on Nevis. Who will deal with that aspect of it when it comes to the Nevis side of things? Does it mean that we on Nevis would have to find our way down to St. Kitts to get the license for the 56 grams, to get the license for the 5 trees and all of these other things that are attached to the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs? And I also want to know why we have not heard from that minister either. Just like we have not heard from the same minister that you're going to go to tomorrow on cannabis at all, we have not heard anything, Mr. and Kitts either, in relation to that aspect. That is the question that the area angle that I would like you guys to address if you get the chance to. But it's quite important that Rastafari get that sort of presentation, and I am really happy for the contributions that you guys have been making. The efforts, it can't go unnoticed. To know that it's 3 years now that you guys have stuck it out. A lot of groups sometimes don't even make it a year, but you guys are here and able to talk about 3 years and looking forward to strengthening. So my brother, even though you may have been a bit disappointed last evening or whatever evening it was when you had the panel discussion and you didn't have as much numbers, don't lose faith. The fact is you were able to pull it off, and how much ever were there, it's a start. You were able to document, because I think I saw Reggie video a bit of it and so on. It's going to be documented. A bit of it is going to be, and you would be able now to use that on your social media. You could take clippings and cuttings and so on. And so this is why I am saying your PRO, and as Banky talked about, if you had somebody who was active on the page and so on, all like that, it could have been advertised every day. Somebody put it out and share it as much as possible and so on, because that's where right now. I mean, the reality is even the politicians. It seems as if when I look at what's happening right now, it seems as if the election is going to be campaigned on social media versus the usual town hall meetings and so on that they used to have and so.
Yes.
We as Rastafari still, as much as many of us in the past would say we burn technology and we burn this and we burn that and so on. My view is, there are tools, and the most I would have given wisdom and knowledge, and wisdom and knowledge increase is for us to use the tools. Them. Don't let us. You can use them. We could still have a donkey cart, but and a chariot, but they made cars, and we have adapted. So, they make technology and it has its negative and its positive. But if you are positive, you can use it positively. And so you can come on the platform and be that energy now, be the difference. While everybody pushing the negativity, come in and have a force now that presents some positivity. And so that is just a little suggestion, for the organization and work on that as much as possible.
They're using the technology right now. You see, people watching it from all over the world same way by doing these things. So you show they know the up to pass, they would understand rather than so tomorrow they're going into a studio right now. They're at their own headquarters in their own comfort zone where they can be themselves. Because when they go in the studio tomorrow, they can't burn no spliff. And up inside that we have no flag and that easy as kids. You know what I mean? So
But
they show you the
they might be
difference.
able to fly the flag, but I don't think they're gonna go burn this spliff in there. But the other part of it though,
Yes.
I was gonna correct Brigo there, because this is a huge platform as well.
Of course,
This is
yes.
listened to by people all over the world as well. And I'm sure when you look at the
Yes.
numbers, we sometimes compete with some of these huge, other programs that people consider to be big
Of
programs.
course.
When we look at the numbers, the
Definitely.
viewers that we get and so on. And so, I just put a plug in. But the reality is,
Yeah, man.
we have to use whatever platforms. So yes, that's a big platform, and I understand where you're coming from with that. But at the same time, whatever means, and that's why when Reggie reached out and so on, I was like, yeah, definitely. We have our topics and so on, but I can't afford to miss an opportunity to give Rastafari an opportunity to present what they're doing and make their contributions to the Federation, because it is needed. And if we don't do it for ourselves, because we are Rastafari, then who else we expect to do it? So
Right.
just keep up the works, King. And as much as possible, put your information out if people who are interested in becoming a part of Higher Heights organization, because I'm sure people who are listening might have been thinking, well, I didn't even know that there's this organization. So if you want to give your information in terms of your number or where you guys meet, and do a pitch to encourage people who are interested in becoming a part of the organization. So you let them know, well, where they can find you, how to get in contact with you. You can share the Facebook page and so on and things like that. So I'm giving you that opportunity now.
Yes, I give thanks. Well, when I like to just encourage the general public to come on out this weekend, Saturday to the Natural Fest, and come out and support Higher Heights. Come on out and support the vendors. It's all for a good cause. As you know, we are a non-profit organization. And also we like to invite people out to come and visit us over here at Judo's farm if they want to be a part of Higher Heights Rastafari movement. That's coming up Westbury Road in the Cades Bay area. Dan Wilkin, Dan Atherton, sorry, from a fountain. You have a farm. What's the name of the farm again, baby? Outside.
But you can just turn off
Crossroad, organic farm.
Crossroads.
Crossroad
That's
organic
right.
farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn off at the Crossroads farm, organic farm, and you can't lose us from there on in.
Yes, and once you get here and we try to meet here every Saturday, to have ISIS, come together, give thanks and praise to the Almighty. And we have discussions on various topics, and stuff like that, and find ways to move forward, and see how much more people we can help throughout St. Kitts and Nevis or throughout Nevis. My number is 664-0992, and the elder Duigo.
661-2952.
Yeah, anything else you want to add?
And well, I would just like to add that Higher Heights, like the name suggests, that's what we strive for. Higher Heights. And like our motto says, higher heights. And our creed says, feed the poor, clothe the naked, and comfort the sick. And so we try to do these things in our planning and in our deliberations. And so that's our aim. Our aim is to change the perception of Rasta within the community. You know, when one thinks of Rasta, the person thing come to their mind is negativity, or they always get in trouble, they always smoking with it. We want to highlight the positive nature of Rastafari. Because if you can only see these things when you look deep, and if you don't look deep, you won't see these things. You'll see the outside appearance, which really does not reflect what we really are. And so in order to determine what are we, come, look, and see. And with that, my blessed love, and I rest my case right here.
Rastafari, give thanks, and it's really an honor and a privilege to be able to host Rastafari and give Rastafari an opportunity in these times to be able to share their utterances and to be able to continue to seek to the youth and to our population. The struggle. We know the struggle, and the struggle had eased up fully, even though we might see some acceptance to some extent of some of our brethren and sisters in society. There is still the huge pushback, and we can see, sorry, even as we go through the cannabis issue as we speak, how still they're seeking to marginalize us and try to keep us on the back burner, so that they're saying technically, you guys are free to smoke as much as you all want, but when it comes to the business side of it now, it's a whole other aspect and so on. And so, these are things that we will continue to agitate, and we as much as possible would give Rastafari an opportunity to share their views and opinions, and so we can hear the voices, our own voices, and we can put the message out there. So Reggie, Genesis, Vigo, Judah, and the rest of the members of Higher Heights organization, we want to encourage you guys to continue. Don't give up. You guys, organizations, you might have your little diffs here and there. People make differences in opinions, and somebody might want a particular one, but we have to find ways still of seeking to
Breaking up your son.
address those differences.
You're breaking up a while ago.
Yeah. No, I was saying we have to find ways of dealing and addressing with our differences at the same time, and still keep the group together, because it's important still, even though we may have our differences and so on, that we can, put our differences aside and look at the bigger picture and see that, it's all about organization, and we got to bring Rastafari. And we also have to demonstrate that level of organization as, Elder Marcus Garvey and the others would have demonstrated in the past. And so it's not going to be easy. And I'm just, being realistic with you guys, and want to encourage you still, even though it is not easy. Just don't give up, keep pushing, and, let's take it to higher heights, as the name implies. Enough respect, and, we want to encourage you guys and wish you guys success on the rest of the week of activities. And, we would welcome you guys back after to give us an update on the activities and anything that you guys are planning for the future. We really would, welcome you guys on the platform. So anytime, feel free to reach out, and, we will give you guys that space and that opportunity.
Blessed love.
Bless you, Lord. Give thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, before I go to your son, I would like to say I commend you and Banky, for what you guys are doing. You know what I mean? The works never stop. We all work in different ways. You all do it through social media and, you know what I mean? You have a platform that you all have here. Even though sometimes I don't catch you all live, I always go back and, check the replay, and listen to you guys.
And
And,
give
I
thanks.
mean, it's a positive, real positive vibration you guys send out. So I want to give thanks for having us here tonight. And we'll surely be back again to give you guys an update on what take place for the other week of activities.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Blessed love.
Yeah,
Bless you.
man, give thanks, give
Yes,
thanks.
sir.
And, we just want to encourage you guys, continue. Rastafari, take Rastafari to the four corners of the world. Whatever connections. And that's another reason why social media is critical, because a lot of connections are out there. So while you're out there, you make connections with other Rastafari organizations and groups out there and so on, and strengthen up this thing. We really need each other, and the youths, right now, the youths, them need us. They need some examples. They need to be able to see, that we could have this togetherness within these times. So let's keep that positive energy, and we're going to give us as much support as we can. Enough respect, guidance, and protection every time. Rastafari, Emperor Haile
Yes,
Selassie the
sir.
first,
That's the part.
guidance and protection.
Bless you, Lord.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Banky, and it's always a pleasure, to be able to um, hear about the works that's taking place within Rastafari, and be able to give Rastafari an opportunity to shine their light. As mentioned a lot of the times, when you do hear about Rastafari, they want to paint Rastafari in this kind of negative light and negative energy, but a lot of the time, sometimes when good things like these are happening, it's not necessarily mentioned and highlighted on mainstream media and so forth. And so, whatever opportunity that we can to highlight some of these positive things, I think it is very important that we do so. And so, I want to, really congratulate Ras Genesis and Brigo and the others who are seeking to maintain, at least some semblance of Rastafari upliftment within the community. And I want to encourage a lot more of our, folks to support the activities that they're doing. And, if you can make time, go and be a part of the gatherings and share your views and opinions. And, when they start mobilizing their social media and so on, like and subscribe and, be a part of the discussions and so forth. Yes. Global greetings, Elvan Ellie, bless up yourself. Akeem Walwin, bless up yourself. Denise Smitten watching, and the others who are logged in, whether you're welcome to give us a call on our platform if you're interested in calling in. The number is 1-869-662-7196 if you want to be a part of the program to call in. In the meantime, Banky, anything you want to throw on the table?
Well, right now, there's a lot going on right now. Yes, on within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, a lot going on with this MSR thing, and a lot of accusation from the Prime Minister that someone wanted to extort him between $40 to $100 million. When that statement was made, I was wondering how come the Prime Minister didn't lock up those two persons, one time, whoever the individual them was, and also with this out underselling of our passport and stuff like that. So for what's going on right now, I mean, to realize it seems like, I mean, we will have to find a different set of people to really take control of our government to put things in place, especially when it comes to independent candidates, because all of these politicians have failed us. With all this rain that have failed last week, you realize for the amount of water that going into that airport is very embarrassing, because we have three different government that have passed and failed us. You had the one under Douglas for almost 20 years. Then you have Team Unity, which include a makeup of three different parties. Nothing done. We should have built a brand new airport with gate where you don't have to come off the aircraft and come out in the hot sun. And if you're in a fall, you get wet, you soak down wet and run and all this stuff, and people direct you to walk on this side. These things should be happening, Yasan. When we're wasting billions and billions and they're giving up to 5,500 passports to sell and underselling and all this different stuff. They're wasted. These things should not be happening. The airport not no practically. So what reason would they tell us why we don't have a brand new airport? Brand new airport and have to come off of jets. We should be able to dock at least 5 jets one time with proper, you
Well,
understand, restaurants instead of these things and all this different stuff. With this is not good. So therefore, anyone who in these times who here supporting any of these parties that currently within St. Kitts and Nevis, then they're not serious about moving the country forward and putting resources. Because yes, and if you want to go down the road and you select the building, the repair the road and building a road may cost $30-40 million. It means you can build free housing for people making under 30 or $25,000 a year. Because it's our money using. You can't be borrowing money from Social Security and out of different funds and then make the citizens pay them back and stuff like that. When they themselves not even doing the right thing and mismanaging our money. We're supposed to move away from these things and do the right thing. And I mean, it's
well,
just we're talking about. Go ahead.
if we are sitting back and not speaking out or seeking to challenge these things, then it would seem as if it is the norm, because that's the way things function. So we have elected officials who don't consult with the masses, don't consult with us. They would go in the house and pass a law or pass a bill, and only if by chance we choose to agitate and push back, then is when they may seek to go inside the house again and say, "Boy, we got to amend this. We got to try to amend this to appease the people and so on." It's we, the masses, who are allowing these things to happen in a banky.
Of course, because
We
you have
see
to remember
we
that,
see the
yes,
games.
son.
We see games that are being played. Like we talk about maintenance. Let's look at Nevis. We see how a lot of I speak of Nevis because I guess I'm from Nevis and I can relate more to things that are happening on Nevis, right? And we could see how
Yes.
many of the government buildings have been run down and shut down and not maintained. And then they move to a rented space, paying rent, and make no effort to try to repair or fix the government structure. So, and even while they were within the structure, you don't see much efforts in terms of maintaining the structure. So we have a kind of mentality where at around election time and so on, they come up with a nice project and they build things, or they create something because it's going to create a big publicity stunt. Oh, we're going to build this and we're going to be bringing this. But then in terms of maintenance after, there's not much of a plan where that is concerned. And because of the short span of the people, I guess this is why sometimes a lot of these things they get away with, as we talked about the other day. You go in the house and you say, well, we're going to do this thing by the first quarter. And then know by 9 days, you don't forget about that, and nobody can come back and remind you when the end of the first quarter come that by you did say you were going to do this, but it never happened. And so because they know that this is the kind of mentality that they're working with, it is why a lot of these things are done. Because we, the people, sit back and allow these things to happen without any pushback.
So yes, son. So how do you want to hold the workers accountable and make noise with the workers and when they're not performing, but you're not performing as the leader? So the Patakali Keckle Black then? Because the
Yeah,
minister, most of them they're failing, but they get to blaming anybody else. This thing don't make no sense.
because you can't fire the leader The only way you could do that is either have a vote or no confidence, or a election.
Well, these things,
If you vote,
these
that
things
is
need
the
to
only way.
happen.
So these are the kind of things. But how you gonna get it happen when they are very effective at playing the game of divide and rule? And this is what I'm saying. Like the people, they are so effective of playing this game of divide and rule that in a lot of the cases, the people don't know when to switch from the partisan politics to deal with issues that are national. Like for example, I made a post earlier on today in relation to the same issue that I brought up earlier in terms of we are not hearing anything from the Minister of Agriculture and Nevis. Cannabis is medical cannabis is under that ministry. We the taxpayers are paying that minister because that is now under his portfolio. That has become a part of his job. If he's
Of
not
course.
talking about it, if he's not coming to the people to say anything, that
Well,
means
his
he's
whole
not doing his
ministry,
job.
not him
And
alone, the
he's
whole
being
ministry
paid.
is
But this has
yeah,
nothing to do with partisan politics. No, but you see, but what I'm saying, Banky, wait, hold on.
the
See
federal
what the point I'm
government
trying to
take
make.
the lead,
Yeah,
and he
but
gonna
here's the
follow, and
point
they're
I'm
gonna
trying to
follow
make.
when done.
When you come and you make these points, because of how they have the people tend to want to think that play this partisan politics game. Oh, you're against the minister, you're talking against the government, and you're against CC.
Yes,
No,
that
no.
minor
There are
matters, yes,
times
son. You
when
know
the
one of the things
issues
there.
that has no,
You
but what I'm
can
saying
tell people to think, you know.
is not Banky, you're saying
So
it's
I know
minor
one of the things that, yes,
matters.
son. Yeah, but we're
No,
educated, so people can always speak.
matter about it.
That's just how it
But it's the
is. That's
reality
just
of
how it is, yes,
it's
son.
the
Of
reality, it's the
course.
reality of what
But don't worry
is
about that.
causing some of
They're
the
not gonna
problems that
change.
we're having now. People don't
No,
want to see that when it's a national issue, when the issue is a national thing, when it got nothing to do with politics, it got nothing to do with party. This is a national issue. You are a minister. We have placed this thing under your ministry. It is a part of your portfolio. Then you have to at least come and say something about it. I mean, what we paying you for then?
yes,
That means if
son.
we're paying you for that, then you ain't doing your job. And it's the same thing
Yes,
applies
son.
to Jeffrey Hanley and Sinkits, where the recreational and religious or spiritual side of cannabis is concerned. Those are placed under his portfolio, but we have not ever heard anything from him. So why are we paying him? And why the people who are
He ain't get
paying
the time yet, yes,
sitting back
son. The
and
man
just
ain't get the
become the
time yet. The man busy. He ain't get the time yet. Work with the man, no man. The man got a large portfolio. He just ain't get to it
But
yet. But he ain't
you
get to
can't be
it.
too busy. Well, if the job is too much for you, don't take on the job.
Well, that's who, well, the
Don't take
man
on the
just kind
job
of
because we're
busy.
paying you. And then you're gonna come back and
Well,
say you want taxes, we ain't getting enough taxes, and you're gonna raise our taxes, and you're gonna come and say you want to raise and you pay too because your job is so tough that you all need to be paid to not want to bribe. So they want
yes,
to raise
son.
your pay to prevent you all from accepting bribes.
Watch. When I realize that the same
Mm-hmm.
minister and his cabinet has given away
Uh-huh.
geothermal, I say, well, the guy senile now. The whole cabinet guy senile. Because when I hear the PM can say geothermal is a federal project now, and I hear now I listen to talk show today and another radio station in St. Kitts, and all of them praising up. Well, it's a good look now. The federal government, which means the federal government going to make some money. How would you give up a resource in navies to you see to the federal government? This thing don't make any sense, Virgin. You're giving up your natural resource, you know, that you had plans to go sell energy all up to Puerto Rico with underground cables, and now you don't give it up. Yes, son, I don't want to be hear nothing about geothermal unless they can come to me, show me what it's gonna take, all the schematics, they get everything right there pan flame in a 3D form, where this well gonna be, how we go down to the earth, and all these things, and how much the project gonna cost, when the project gonna finish, and when everything gonna go to the grid, and what the cost is gonna cost each household, and how long we're gonna get this energy from for the next 100 years. I don't want to hear nothing about this thing from nobody. They cannot convince me. I know what is a can. I want to hear it, brethren, from none of them. If you cannot explain these things to me right now, me no want to hear it. I mean, entertain the conversation. You could talk about it, But until I see these things, the exact amount, if you build a house, the bank want to see the figures, the plan. Let me take this call, your son. Somebody calling in, and we continue.
Yeah.
Father, good evening.
Yeah, man. Good evening to the island, man.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, man. What about you guys?
Yeah, man. I'm here. Give thanks.
Yeah, let me get straight to it this time, man. Last time was a different situation. I'm happy that you throw that geothermal energy on the table tonight.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm gonna tell you why. And my comments right here tonight may not be favorable to a lot of people. Nevis has that clause 113 in the Constitution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which give Nevis the right to go secession at any given time. The people should decide. With the geothermal energy physically being on the island of Nevis, our leaders in Nevis has to take that into consideration, because let's play devil's advocate. Suppose the people of Nevis decide to go secession down the road. What is going to happen with the geothermal if it's owned by the federal government? You see the situation where the Panama Canal brought the situation forward when Trump came into office, right? Yeah, we know the Panama Canal is physically located in Panama. How could the United States try to own that Panama Canal? It's not located in America, it's located in Panama.
Yeah,
With that said, man.
But the Chinese now is the one who right now who manage and operate the canal.
It, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So that maybe came about with negotiations with Panama. That can happen because if they're gonna negotiate themselves with the Chinese, well, that's on them. But what I'm saying is, getting back to the geothermal in Nevis, I believe if anyhow that geothermal come to fruition, St. Kitts and Nevis is going to fall out over that geothermal. Trust me on that.
Carlos, so when do you think they're going to happen? Which time? In 2 years, right, 5 years, 10 years? When? How long are they going to take? How long?
Nah.
What?
I heard somebody said that they've been trying it around since NRP was in there.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
It might not happen. Yo. I left Nevis in 1985.
No, what I'm saying, Carla, I'm asking you how long would it take for right now the federal government and the NIA talking about geothermal? When will they finish it? What time? 2030, 2035? When will they say it will be finished? Do they say when?
Okay.
How much money will it cost?
I don't think they could pinpoint that. I don't think
well, this don't make no sense. Well, that don't make no sense,
They're still trying to figure this stuff out.
Well, that don't make no sense. You cannot be talking about this. Don't make no sense until you figure it out. You can't be talking about it. That's just how it is.
Unless you find out what the total amount to complete that whole project, and you show the people where you got that money coming from, and you put the timetable on it. Really and truly, it seems like these guys are just using this as a political football. You know what I mean? Time-wise, I don't see that happening no time soon. You might not happen to me in your lifetime.
So why entertain why entertain the conversation if they can't prove these things? Why entertain the conversation?
They're just faking the people out, man. They're faking out the people.
Okay.
Bottom line. And these politicians of the day, like you said before, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis the electorates got to seriously consider removing these politicians.
Carla, 20 seconds to wrap up and then you can call back.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me just summarize a little bit. Going forward, the electorates in St. Kitts and Nevis got to think about removing these recyclables who have failed us from whenever the inception of that CBI program, 40, 41, 42, 43 years ago, they mismanaged the money, and then now they either want to fake the people out, pretending like they're scranting for the. But we see how the CBI program is falling. So I guess the marijuana thing is going to be the next CBI program. No matter what going forward, the people them need to stand up, man.
All
The
right.
electorates them need to come together, utilize the power they got in their hands, and protest about a lot of these failures.
All right, Carla,
You
get
know,
chance.
if we so disapprove with the performance of the current administration on both islands, we should try to remove and put some independent-minded persons in there. Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
All right, respect. Okay,
Yes,
yes,
I.
son.
And
Just thank the caller for
and
calling
Banky,
and sharing his views. Yes, I.
sorry. And you see the last point the caller made there about seemingly they want cannabis to be that economy that replace the CBI. The CBI left off. I think that is exactly
Yes.
what is taking place. That is one of the reasons why I think it is very, very important for us to call out and appeal to Mr. Hanley, Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, to come to the public to speak on those issues, because the issues that are rest in his ministry are the areas that are more critical to the average people on St. Kitts and Nevis. The area that the government has opted to focus on, which is the medical cannabis side of things. When you really look at what they are doing, it falls directly in line with what the caller mentioned, that they are looking at it as a means of getting that additional revenue that they're accustomed to get from the CBI side, at least some of it, to help to add up in that
So, your
area.
son, so where you going to find land when you can't find land to grow food? So where's the class? If you're going to grow weed, you're going to go 20 or 30% of food to help with the food import bill. Right now, St. Kitts and Nevis, there was a thing that's released. St. Kitts and Nevis is number 3 on the list for importing the food import bill, apart from Trinidad and the Bahamas. Number 3. You see what we're talking about in the Caribbean with the high food import bill. So they're not going to land to give people to who are on a farm, but you're going to find land to go and other things except food.
Well,
So who
Banky,
fooling who?
if tomorrow you hear a hotel is gonna come to St. Kitts and Nevis,
We don't want to hear about no
but they ain't
hotel,
gonna find
brethren. We don't hear about no hotel. Ain't no hotels supposed to come
Hold
on
on,
here. I'm
hold
just
on,
saying in
hold
general.
on,
No hotels supposed to
hold
come
on.
on
But
here.
the point I'm making,
Period. We have enough.
the point I'm making is going towards the same land that you're talking about, and the point I'm making
So
is they're
that's
gonna
the whole
find land for
point.
the
That's why we
hotel.
don't want to hear no more
They're
hotel.
gonna
We need no
tell
more
you that
hotel.
exactly. But so the point I'm making, they're gonna find land for the hotel, but they're gonna tell you they ain't gonna land for agriculture.
Any hotel gonna build is we build our own hotel. We draw the own plan. We manage our own hotel, and that's it. But now foreigners gonna come and build a hotel and we land. We use our own resource, our own people, and that is only way that is needed. That should be. But now it's coming to build a hotel, now which Carlton and this and that. It's madness.
You ain't gonna put no $1 million in them man campaign fund.
Of course not.
So so you gonna can't get them deal there. The deals them gonna get a little thing under the table, and who they could
Well, we know about things there now. Is the
get
people
to,
supposed to
and
resources supposed to get the
you might
resources?
hire the legal firm. You might not use the legal services, and you may not use, the other businesses that they may have to offer. And so these are some of the things that you have to look at when sometimes our people are ignored and overlooked, and other foreign investors sometimes are given the nod. It's sometimes how they can benefit, because at the end of the day, remember, we want to believe, and that's why I keep saying, we want to believe that we have a democratic society. We want to believe that these people go there with the intent of really looking out for us and do things and for the benefit of us, like they say. And they usually say it a lot, and they're very, very eloquent when they're saying it, but then the actions show something totally different. And then later on, as we do further investigations, we do find out a lot of different things. And as you started to talk about the MSR media scenario, for me right now, I am not saying too much on the issue. I am at the point where I am just more listening and seeking to gather the information surrounding what is being presented, because
if there is a video, I want to see the video, yes, son. If
interesting.
there's a video that
Well, I
is
want to see the
released, I
video as
want to
well
see what
too.
video is there.
I want to
So I
see it
want to
as
see that.
well
So
too, and that's
release
what I'm
it.
saying. It's quite
Release the
interesting,
video.
some of the things that has come out as a result of the investigations that are taking place, and you know,
So
other
yes, and
things.
let me ask you a question. When you heard the Prime Minister say people coming to his office and want to extort him $40 to $100 million, how do you take that? So what is extortion? Extortion is a crime right there, you know. So how, and
Well,
he's the head of
I
state.
don't know if you use I
How do
don't
you
know if
take
you use the
his
word extortion. I think he said
well if,
shakedown or something to that effect, but I
well
guess
the
it's the
same
same thing
thing,
he was
everyone put it.
implying.
Yes.
Well, for me,
Uh-huh.
this is how I look at
Uh,
it. The
yes.
prime minister is armed with a whole legal team. He has a whole branch, um,
Yes.
and he has an AG, and he has also if that is the case, then there's no need really even for this to be publicized because he know what he
Yes,
needs to do.
exactly.
If that is,
That's it.
you know, what I mean, if that is the scenario, so those things. That's why I said I don't necessarily want to involve myself in too much of what is happening and the say that's happening right now, you know, in the media. I want to be able to hear and see for
Because
myself
because
because so far,
these things and the geothermal are the same thing in a virgin. This thing and the
so
geothermal
far,
are
all
the
I'm hearing
same
is
thing, you know?
this back and forth talk. You know, I don't
Yes, this thing are the
necessarily
same
subscribe to
thing.
it back and I want to have evidence before I make any,
Good.
you know, serious
So this is the same thing they try
utterances.
to show you. These situation in geothermal is the same thing because ain't no evidence. They just talk, and you can't show how you're gonna get to the end. You see? It's just like, okay, we're going back to the poultry and the agriculture. You keep talking about the machine at the boy, and so you hear the minister say he know the building gonna cost so much money. So you know got to, boy done by the machine. So how the planning go? So you not got no money, you don't know how much you're gonna building gonna cost. You don't have no clue. You see what I mean? This thing, so 3, 4 years later, machine is sit down. So how serious? You see what gonna happen now? I don't hear about
Yeah,
culturama. Culturama, you hear appear that's what you advertise culturama.
but Banky,
Okay?
the other part is you say the machine is sitting down, but it's not just sitting down, it is also causing the
Wow.
taxpayers money for rent because it's being paid, from what I understand, it's being sitting down in somebody's storage facility, which they are being paid handsomely for every month. So it is also at a cost. So this is why sometimes I say, Banky, it is our people. I don't necessarily have anything to say about the ministers and so on, so to speak. I have a lot to say about our people who allow these things to continue because these people would
Yeah,
only
but
continue to do
they
what
have to
they're
be
doing,
accountable. They gotta
but
be accountable
they
because
only
they sit outside, had all the negative things to say about who was there, and when they get there, the worse than who was there. So it shows that they are just recycled. All of them just doing the same thing. So these are premeditated. So
so
these are
then
willful
but
acts.
Banky,
Willful
so then
acts.
Banky,
Okay.
if you had a set deal, if you had a set deal
Yes.
and you complain and you say you ain't want a set deal and you put in a next set and the set do the same thing where you say you take out and you allowing that to continue, well, why should I be vexed with the set that just gone in? I should be vexed with you because you got who got the power, you know. And this is what I'm saying. My thing is, and this is where my argument is. My argument is to empower the people who really have the power, and the people who have the power is us, the taxpayers. The problem is
Definitely.
those who we giving the job is doing a more effective job at keeping us divided and not really looking at the real issues and not addressing
Very
the
true.
issues from a national standpoint. So they have gotten them so much that is always this bickering. Oh, you against me and you over there and that over there and them there and ignore the noise and all these kind of things when the issues that we should be talking about, like we are pointing them out, when you do bring them out, because of this divisiveness that they have within the people are not able to watch these things and say, even though they must see, it's like a gang. It's that even though you watch a gang leader do wrong because you support the gang, you say, well, by he right. And that's the kind of mentality that they try to keep with the people. So when we address it, when we talk about the fact that the second phase of the agricultural plot was cleaned up, and we said at least from the premier, sorry, he said over $400,000 was paid to clean it at that time when he spoke, and that money has gone, and the land, nothing was done. And so if the project is supposed to start again, which it was supposed to start by the end of the first quarter, another set of money have to be paid again to clean up that. When you talk about that, and that is wastage, that is not partisan politics. That should be an issue for us because it is our taxes that are being used to pay that. When you talk about the same boiler machinery that was bought and is sitting down, and not just sitting down, but our taxes are paying a monthly fee to keep a machine there, that you're telling me that after they buy the machine, they say that they can't afford the building. They can't believe the building costs so much money to build. These things don't add up. You talk about the hospital wing again. I mean, there's so many things but when you point these things out, instead of people addressing the issues and say, well, boy, I mean, at the end of the day, it's we, the taxpayers, suffering.
so
It's we.
what the wing at the hospital just need to turn into a nursing home for retirement retirees. Guys, there's spaces always needed with people for elderly. Just turn it into different rooms. You see what I mean? The spaces there, rearrange the rooms and stuff to accommodate. Can you need, and then build a brand new hospital? Because there's other people on the other side. Use that whole lot as just an elderly home. Because the space is needed. The rental space is needed. The whole thing, and gardens and different walkways and stuff like that. Just use the space wisely and build a brand new hospital with a new maternity ward and everything else that is needed, and up to date with camera system with the best technology and all this different stuff. You check when you come in, you gotta check in and get an ID and all this different stuff. Just do it professionally. These are simple things in a Virgin. Simple things. That's all it is. But the wastage that goes around here, Virgin. You know, I mean, wastage, and yet we still debating these things. I mean, I figure when I finished school 30 plus years ago, by the time 30 years come, navies and sinking will be top notch with everything. You wouldn't have nobody, like, you know what I mean, would be begging for help and all this different stuff. But it seems like nothing much have changed. You know what I'm saying? Because the same thing still going on 30 years later. And that is sad. You see?
But
Really sad.
I look at recently I saw something where Dominica is almost on the verge of getting their geothermal project off the ground. And I remember when Nevis started, Dominica was looking on at Nevis and was trying to get advice from Nevis and so on in terms of, where to go and how to move forward with the project, because they were thinking about doing it while Nevis was on their way at that point, seeking to move forward with geothermal. Dominica was thinking about it. And now
So they have an
Dominica
idea
is
when they're
on.
going to finish and all that? When they're going to up to
Yeah,
they have
man,
a finishing
Dominica.
point?
I think yes, they have that information at this point. I don't have the information in front of me, but I think it's by next year they should be flipping the switch in Dominica, and
We're how so quick?
Nevis has not,
What happened there? We're how so quick? We're how so magical
because
about the what?
would have been
This,
working. They would have been working for years now. They got the company that is necessary to do whatever. So saying, I don't understand what is really happening with St. Kitts and Nevis. And in some cases, it's the same CDB that would have lent
Mhm.
Dominica a certain amount of money. 'Cause when I look at the money that Dominica got versus what St. Kitts and Nevis got, and I'm like, but you know what I mean, Dominica was behind, but seemingly they took the lead and moving forward in the Caribbean. So it seems as if they would be the first in the OECS to be able to flip the switch on geothermal. That is a part of what we're talking about. We find a lot of these conversations come up when it's close to elections and so on, and we find a lot of things happen for political expediency, and at the end of the day, then they wait until after to try to sort out things that should have been started out prior. And that is just part of the stories that we're dealing with. We we would have in the last couple of weeks we spent a lot of time zoomed in on the cannabis issue, the issue that
Yes.
that that
You have a meeting coming up
um,
this Thursday at Old Road. I sent you the flyer.
yeah, that is what I was about to look into. That we would have been told that there was going to be
The
one on
last one in
St. Kitts
Nevis.
and another one on Nevis, but
Yeah, the last one will be in
seemingly
Nevis. And
they're gonna have two more on St. Kitts before they have another one on Nevis. That's what it
two
seems
more.
based on
Two more.
the flyer.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm seeing based on the flyer.
Yes.
The flyer is saying that um, that there is going to be a meeting on the 22nd, Thursday, the 22nd of May
So
at Old Road Community Center, and
so
then
your son.
Thursday 29th of May at Lodge Community Center in St. Kitts. And so this is one,
So
two, three that's going to
so
be
your
on St.
son.
Kitts. I'm not in Nevis yet.
So why can't Nevis those two meetings, one what is St. Kitts keeping and what is Nevis keep at the same time and at this and the same days where one member from half the board can be in Nevis and they say all should have the same information. You just don't need the chair to disseminate the information. So I mean the same time these things are going on, it should be going on. You understand? The same time. That's how it should work.
But
That's it's as simple as
this
that.
is something. Hold on, Banky. You're saying it is as simple as that, but then
Yeah, it's simple.
there's also the other pushback that I'm hearing, because I'm hearing, and this is an
Uh-huh.
argument that um I would have heard from as early back as when um the Honorable Patrice Nisbet and NRP back then would have been pushing for the cannabis legalization on Nevis. And there was the argument that it could have been
Yes.
done because Nevis has autonomy over the agricultural sector. Now,
Yes.
that argument is now seen again because this
Yes.
cannabis thing, that's things that brought to the although there are federal relations in terms of moving forward, still dependent on the relevant ministries or the agencies and needs to really move forward. So, for example, as we are pointing out, the agricultural ministry and saying what doing in terms of the rollout of their cannabis sector, but the minister and the ministry and Nevis has done nothing so far, and we would have seen some similar examples when it comes to the 25 by 25 agenda. There would have
Yes,
been
sorry.
a lot of this where things were given out and handed out on St. Kitts, and nothing much was happening on Nevis. And when questioned, it was because nothing was really being pushed from the Nevis end. There's no communication or nobody really making a claim for the Nevis side of things. So is it a case where maybe reasons why attention is being pushed is because what the helm who should be pushing the agenda for Nevis is not, and that is
Yeah, so send the list. Send the
part
list. You
of
send the list
the
yet? You send the list yet?
question
Time
that
to
I'm
run up
asking,
and
because from the Ministry of Agriculture, and we don't know representative of the Ecclesiastic Affairs Ministry on Nevis. We don't know if there's anybody representing that arm, and if not, then what happens in regard the Nevisians who would be interested in getting their license. Back I was using with another brethren a couple of days ago, and I think we need to get him back on the platform again. But we were having some discussions, and one of the things he pointed out, and it made me think about it really. If the Constitution said that it is our right right? To be
Good.
able to possess and use cannabis in our private property and in our residence and so on. Why should I get to get a license to exercise my right?
That's the whole point. I keep saying these things all the time. We've been saying this for 5 years though. That's the whole point. You know, the
I mean,
Constitution
if it's
done
your
said it
right,
already.
if it's
That's
a
the whole
right,
point.
we ain't talking about something that's legal, or illegal, We're talking
Yeah,
about
son. This is
your
just
right.
like when this is the same thing we're talking about when the law say you cannot sell fast food for less than 175. So if you're going to sell, you have to put no law in place to say you break the law if you sell for under 175. You see? So why do you need to put something in place to ask for your own rights? That is the whole point. It's control mechanism because the outside forces is asking them to take, as I tell the young lady, they're looking data. And you see, as I mentioned that the US and whatever want them to collect data and monitor this and how much Rasta money between age 18 and 21 and between a data they collect data could be so anything. What is age? You know, they ask the age and this and that and one thing. I think your profession and news. They will look. Feds, FBI, I call it what you want it. That's the way it is. You see, that's the way it is. It's a control mechanism. So this is worse than before now because now you want to get something and then you know 500 or 1,000 people in navies have the license to go 5-6 trees and we don't know how to police it. Just you want to get ticket for car, people will ask walk and give other people job to go in your look news. You see? And that's the way it is. I don't say that the way it is. And look, I come and say that the way it is. They think people stupid brethren. Man want reparation. Man don't get you a kind of fight. So reparation, man need pay. Man need compensation. That's the way it is. So I don't need those who fight the help come tell me. I don't want nothing from them. That's just what it is. All of them is con artists. It's them gonna set up their businesses, which we know these things. Because they love money more than anything else, because that's all that matters. Money. And they'll do anything for money. So if people do anything for money, it means there ain't no limit. There ain't nothing they'll cross. So I understand these things. These people exist amongst our community. But these are the people that we love and look up to because they have PhDs and masters and they're doctors and they're lawyers and whatever. They are devils. That's what it is. Too much devils walking among us and leading us, and we are blinded by these things. I'm blind, my eye wide open, my eye shut, my eye open. You see? I mean, them eye open because self-education is the best. That's what it is, yes, son. They're conning us. We keep saying these things. This is what's going on. They're conning us. And
So
those who
we got
affiliate themselves with all of...
we got a question here on the platform. It says, "Good night. How can the local
Yes.
person be sure that the lands won't be given to foreign companies?" You know,
Don't happen. Because
okay.
number one, that would not been a part of it, yes, son. Because if you're looking at look, you would not have no prices for outsiders. You just had indigenous only. That's it, niche.
But Banky,
But that's not the case.
you are looking from your perspective.
Not me, that's the only perspective I look from. Not from another perspective. That's the only
No,
perspective I
you're
look from.
looking.
Yes, I'm not from another
No,
perspective. Indigenous
you're looking from
only.
your.
That are my
But here,
well, that's what
but see,
I
but
know
this,
nothing else.
here's what I'm saying. You're
Which
looking
person
from
they
your
look on their
perspective.
perspective? Where they look from? They
But
want
they are looking from their perspective,
and the
and that is
people,
why.
but the people them want local only. So it's not my perspective, it's the people's perspective.
But
The people them who want it locals only.
But this is part of the problem. This is part of the problem that we have, and this is part of what I am seeking to highlight with a part of my discussion all the time.
Yes.
That the people have been ignored and are being ignored.
Yes.
Because
All the time.
this is a perfect example of
Yes.
where no consultation, because if you consult with the people, because here what you're saying, the people are saying one thing, but the government is pushing a whole other agenda. Because the people want a niche market, people want to be able to control the industry and so on, but the government has a whole different paradigm. Their objective right now is to see how much money they could make off of the industry.
they need to give me a salary because I may give a call and anybody else. I the whole need people take me pan me affiliated with this cannabis thing and pan some kind of board. Me tell them I keep repeating myself. Me just like the general public. Me you understand? I'm just educating general public all way. That's all it is. I'm not affiliated with the cannabis authority and nothing in St. Kitts. Nothing at all. You see what I mean?
No,
I
this
just
is
take it.
just
So
our initiative. We have opted to,
yes.
engage people on the topic. We would have dedicated the last week in the month on our show to dedicate to cannabis, and we have been doing this for about 5 years. I am reaching out now to the authority to see if they could sponsor us now, because we have been doing it for free. Now they need somebody
Well,
to function as a PR or a agency to push the topic. I'm thinking that they should be able to give us that opportunity, and they can send a PR way to be a part of the platform, and give us the opportunity to help to disseminate whatever information they want to disseminate from the authority, and any other information in relation to cannabis, because we have already been doing it. To follow up Banky with the comment, the person, Donna Karen Henry, would have also said, true, plus the template was St. Vincent. What happened to the local Rasta community there? Okay. I don't know exactly what's going on with the local Rasta community in St. Vincent. I know that in St. Vincent they would have sought to look at the traditional growers. I'm not certain if they specifically, specified Rastafari, because in St. Vincent, sorry, there was not only the Rastafari community who were involved in the cannabis trade. Average individuals who were not Rastafari were very much prominent in the cannabis industry. And as a result, the St. Vincent government, in their carving out of their laws and rules and regulations where cannabis is concerned, in their wisdom, they would have sought to carve out a unique space for the traditional
Traditional
growers.
growers.
I'm not certain exactly of how they have it aligned. I think that there was a clause where if a foreign investor comes in, they would have to team up with a local grower, and the local grower would have 51%. I think that was sort of the arrangement. I am not certain also if it was St. Vincent or if it was another territory, but I saw some document in relation to that. But these are some of the things.
Yeah,
I
son.
know that,
This is
yes.
this cannabis thing here is sugar cane, and this is CBI, That's what this is what they call this mean land again. Agriculture need land, and investors love latter land because they don't want nobody next to them. You see what I mean? That are these people ideas. And when one thing now work, that use the same land and turn into maybe some kind of real estate style bill going to, condos and different stuff like that. Cause that's just and want their own lounge and all kind of stuff. So everything in one space. Something is definitely wrong with our people, my virgin. The people that we keep putting to lead us, something is definitely wrong with those type of with those group of people. It's just too
Well,
obvious.
you see, Banky, the thing is, nothing is wrong with some of these things. What the problem is. The problem is we should be getting opportunities to create such investments, and with one would want to think that
Okay.
with the
So where the
CBI
resources,
and
yeah,
the
son?
Citizens by
Where the
Investment.
resources? Who speak about
No, so here's what I'm
financing is
saying.
put in?
So here's what I'm
Yes.
saying. With the kind of monies that we were making from the CBI, this is where somebody like me now who let's say I want to put down a agro-tourism venture with a hotel and a cannabis farm, and a farm with agro processing and all of that, and you know what I mean. Now I would want to, let's say I want to be a part of the citizenship by investment program, and I need some investment from the government. They wouldn't. These are things that they should be willing to invest in local investors, so that we know can capitalize on such an investment, and that's what I'm talking about. But they would prefer to give all of these perks, whatever these duty-free concessions and all of these other things, to a foreign investor who they feel maybe when they come would be able to say, well, okay, we're going to invest 10 million and million your campaign fund, and we're going to give your company some business card. We're going to register with legal firm, or we're going to register with your brother over there who got that company over there. And you know what I mean? And these are some of the ways that the government and the officials see the venture, because if they in us, they figure we would not necessarily be the ones to put $1 million in the campaign fund. So they don't, because their objective is to win the next election, not necessarily to empower us. If they could keep us just begging a fish, they would be happy. They don't want to give us that opportunity to have the line and have the pattern. They say it, They say it in a lot of cases, but in a lot of cases, when it comes down to really doing it, we a lot of us still have that crab in a barrel mentality, and we would prefer to see any other person make it than our own brothers and sisters. Sadly, so. And it's not just a St. Kitts and Nevis, mentality. It's something throughout the region, but because we are specific to St. Kitts and Nevis, we can speak to that. The Donna Karen Henry again said, plus, who can realistically afford all the license to operate the businesses? These are things, that are being discussed. And Donna, they're having a number of town hall meetings. They would have had one. They do have another two. We just mentioned, both of them. One should be in Old Road, I think, on the 20. Well, I don't remember the date right now. I'll have to go back to the flyer. And then the other one would be at Lodge and St. Kitts. They have not advertised any for Nevis yet, so I don't know if and when there would be one on Nevis. And I don't know if one is enough for Nevis as well, if they might need to go to one or two different areas on Nevis.
This Thursday, the 22nd, yes, son, at Old Road Community Center, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then next week, Thursday, again, the 29th, going to be Lodge Community Center, the same time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So what I'm saying, when this meeting going on, a meeting should be going on in Nevis. You have 15 people, and we call it the authority board. They all should be able to speak and with the information, because just giving the information. So the same time meeting going on in St. Kitts and going on in Nevis. You understand? Same time. That's what should be happening.
But also another thing, don't you think that some of these meetings should be live? They should be streamed live.
Of course, they should be live. You have ZZ radio and all these different stuff. We should be calling and ask questions and all these things.
Questions and things like that.
That's it.
Because
of course.
if you really want to get a wide range of perspectives and really reach as many persons as possible. With these modern, we're in modern technological times.
Those in diaspora can be a part of the discussion too.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
so you see what they need? They need the PRO, then they need to contact Real Entertainment so they could get help in these things.
We are making ourselves available. We're making ourselves available. I mean, we're doing it for free. We're bringing the discussions. I mean, we're the only ones that I know of, that really engage on this topic. Donna continues saying, for another investor to get step workers, they should pay that. Tabasco company, for example, I guess you were alluding to the point I was making in terms of, investing in your own people and so on. Banky, a lot of things that we can be done if we really empower our people. Sometimes, we play a lot of games with our people.
And how come nobody up to now mention about money for this cannabis thing, where locals still will have loans or grants available at Development Bank or National Bank and all this different stuff? You see what I mean? How come nobody speak about these things? So me not get this. It's just like agriculture. You must put resources for people to have access for funding and all this stuff. Otherwise, you cannot which means you gotta be fun. It's just the same thing again. It's just like the chicken project.
But
There ain't the money
the
put in
bank
place,
just
so you
tell
have
you,
to
you know.
find what?
But
What you
bank
say?
just
What
tell
the
you.
CBI?
I just tell you.
What the
I
C-
just know, but I just tell you what going on. Here is it. The main areas that are pertinent to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are placed under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs. We're not hearing anything from anybody in ecclesiastic affairs, so nothing over there even begin to sort out. The area that the
Of course.
government has chosen to focus on is the medical cannabis side. And the medical
I
cannabis
understand.
side, as we are seeing it, is the side where they're looking to make money from the foreign investors coming in, because then they
Or
know, you think they ain't know that the small man ain't got the money to do it? And that is why you say that they ain't put no money aside to do it. They ain't put no money
yes.
aside to do it because it isn't really so much in their plan to empower us. It is more in the plan for them to make from the taxes when these other guys who they expect to come in
Mm-hmm.
to jump in the game and then say, well, okay, we're going to spend this amount of money to set up the business. That is the
That's what it
thinking. And
is.
so their thinking is how they could make money from it. It's not so much how we benefit. That is why the areas, can remember when we spoke to the chair, remember she said that um, they focused on the medical cannabis side, but recreational is still illegal, and they have not touched that, even though that is a part of
She
CARICOM
said
recommendation. And the
when I asked
religious side, uh-huh.
when I asked if this cannabis, this medical thing is just recreational, but you got to pay for it, because when I go and tell me doctor I got back pain, and I have to pay doctor for a fee to come in the office, then pay him for $100 or whatever it is to get a idea or whatever it is. Then I go to the farm to go and pay, get paid next whatever it is. I mean, you can prescribe a recreational it is, but you have to pay for it.
It's a tax revenue scheme.
But that's the whole
But that's
point.
what I'm telling.
So,
That's what I'm telling you. So
so
and
that
that's the
is
area that they
recreational
choose
with
to
a tax.
focus on.
But they
So
can
the
monitor.
area that they choose to focus on is the area that they
She
could
said,
one monitor
she
you
said, call it what you
to make
want. She
money
said,
off
what
of
call it what
you.
you want. That was funny. She said,
But
call
it's
it
the
what you want.
reality.
But that's the reality. That's the whole point. That's what it is. And you see, what can happen the same with this thing, your son. Just like in New York
Mm.
City, where it is, you have all these cannabis stores here and there. The herb not value no eventually, You see what I mean? Because you're gonna end up all over the place. You don't have no value. And then the people don't just now don't even want to have nothing with that type of herb no more. Don't just want the regular homegrown herb. You see? Because this, if once you bring in these people to start flood, cause that's gonna happen. You're gonna some will end up on the street, and eventually it's gonna just be a normal thing where it's not gonna be sellable. Because see it happen in New York, and it's gonna happen here because they're pushing that industry. If you're being niche, it will be different. You see, that's the that's a big difference. But we're not being
Well,
niche, as you
you
say,
see, Banky,
our
and this
people are
is
just looking for money. That's what we're looking for.
well, you see, and this is part of the problem, because they would have dragged their feet so long on the industry as well. The industry have moved to the point where, as you just mentioned, like it's sort of like saturated.
Yes,
In
yes.
California where I am, for example, like I keep telling you, um, the industry is of such that most of the people who are growing earth grown cannabis have a hard time in getting their cannabis sold. It doesn't matter how good the soil is, it don't matter how organic it is, it doesn't matter how, because the higher demand is for indoor hydroponic cannabis. So, and the difference in pricing is huge. You'll be able to find people
Yeah,
growing and they
because
have top quality earth grown cannabis, and you might get three, four, $500 a pound for that. Whereas if it's indoor, you're talking maybe 800 and above. And so look at the difference between
you're paying bills,
three to 500,
You have to,
eight,
because
right?
they're gonna sell
Not just
because
the
they have
bills.
light, they have electrical bills. That's the whole point. It's a trick. It's an next
Well,
trick. That's the whole point. It's a
that
trick.
might be a part of it as well. But then at the end of
It's
the day,
marketing
think
strategy.
think
It's
think
marketing
think
strategy.
about it. But think about it. At the end of the day, if that's what the market is demanding, then you who continue growing your earth grown, then you're gonna reach a
But who
point
pushing
where
the market? But who pushing that market? Who pushing
the
that
same
market?
the same
That's the
medical,
whole
the same
point.
medical
So it's a
cannabis, the
can.
same medical cannabis
That's the whole
industry.
point. So,
Well,
but if you take the
and that
same
is the
herb,
industry that's
them,
being pushed,
if you
and that's the industry
so if
that's
you take
being
the
pushed.
same herb and push them together and test the quality, you'll see. Well, so how come this quality is better? It's free from pesticides and all this, but this one who that is inside with all this expensive equipment because it's an investment. So they have to make sure these people get with the investment because you're buying stuff from this company and this company might sponsor the medical industry in some way. So then you have to buy the lights and you have to buy the this and the grow bag. So you see what I mean? Can buy the nutrients, do the pesticides, all kind of stuff. That's what they're pushing this thing. It's just like a war. Well, you not have to buy gun, then have to buy bullet, then have to buy tanks, helicopter, and that kind of stuff. And the same thing. It's follow the money. Follow the money. That's what it is. The herb or the
Well,
herb.
you see,
That's just it.
Banky, at the end of the day, right? They are seeking to regulate it, and
Of course.
just like
That's
how
what they're
just
doing.
the same way, anybody could go and going back to this example again, anybody could make rum, but
Yes.
they put in order to pass their test, it has to be done in a proper distillery. That is why
Of course.
Hammond, quote unquote, is still illegal. So it's the same
Yes.
argument that is going to be presented when it
Yes.
comes to the medical cannabis side, that it has to be regulated and they
A
have to be able
standard.
to put it through these
Yes.
kind of testing standards
Of
in
course.
order for it to be sold in the dispensaries and so on. So one of the challenge that we're going to find eventually is that you're going to have that fight between the black market, quote unquote. That's those who are not licensed and went through all of that rigorous test, because that market is still going to be there. But what's going to happen is that you're going to find that there's going to be a lot more pressure,
Of
because
course.
now they're going to go and look for those who are not legally farming. So if you're going to be not cultivating with your proper license and all of these things, then these are so the average man with this industry fully effective, when they put that in place, is going to create a lot more problems for the average grower and individual grower. And these are some of the discussions, and these are some of the things not being discussed, because at this point only the medical industry is being discussed. The recreational and spiritual and all of these other things are not on the table as yet. And we, the people, are not demanding that the minister that is responsible for that area come to the public and address some of these issues. And on Nevis, we have the same issue. Not even the medical cannabis side is being discussed on Nevis. And we still don't know what is going to happen in terms of the other aspects, because there's no ecclesiastic ministry, Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs on the Nevis end. So you have a lot of these issues still that we do have to challenge, and a lot of this is what happening. This is why I don't understand, especially where Nevis is concerned, and this is why I'm saying sometimes when it comes to these issues, these are not issues for people to take politically and come political and try to be political. A
Yes, and
minister is there. A minister is
the
being
talent
paid,
is there,
and that minister is not doing anything and not saying anything about an issue that is under his portfolio that we are paying for as taxpayers. What
They
is the
have
problem
talent.
if you speak out and challenge the minister to do his job? How does that become political? How does that mean that you got a problem with the party, or you got a problem with the minister, you got a problem with him not doing his work? Because personally, I have nothing personal against Sir Eric Evelyn. He's my good friend as far as I know. We were team players. I used to work Van Radio with him. Same thing with Mark. I never know that we had any personal issues. And if I'm supposed to meet them tomorrow, I would have the same open greeting and friendly greeting that I think I would have had, unless they have changed their mind when it comes to me, because I up to speak in terms of what I think they should be doing in terms of their job. And if you put yourself up in that position, Banky, it's always
Of
going to be, and I
course.
can tell you the same thing as well, because you
But
put now to
accountability, yes,
run.
son.
And
It's
if
about
you, when you become
accountability.
successful, I am coming here and just so I am challenging any one of those ministers. It's the same. I come in to challenge you. I don't have to get personal with you to challenge you about your job. I
Of
don't have to ask
course.
you about your family and what you're doing in your house and what car you got and that not be business. That's not
Yes,
my
I.
business. My business is to do with what you say you're gonna do for the country and what you should be
That's it.
doing and not doing. And if I am challenging you on that, I have all rights to do that. And you should not be offended. And if you get offended, then that means you're not fit to the job that you say
Of course.
we hire you to do. It's that simple.
Yes, I.
Well, Banky, it's getting closer to that time. So if there's anything you wanna drop in,
Well, I just wanted to say that we have very, very good talent around here. We have both young men and female been really and putting their craft to the test and growing the herb and bring it into different aspect of it. So we have very, very good farmers within St. Kitts and Nevis. So if you have very good farmers in St. Kitts and Nevis, it shows that our people is not for us. All these secret things that they upholding is not really looking out for our interest, because if you have your people who would have think about growing herb, and it's just like growing food, you will get disease. So safety is always key. And if you're going to be using something that is medicinal and then full of pesticides, residue, and all these things, because that's one of the main problems with the medical one industry, pesticides residue. That's one of the main big problem within the agricultural sector, pesticides residue, because farmers spray every week for preventing. Every week they spray the stuff, and these things go. Some of them go up too, depending on who the grower is, because the environment just end up with mites and aphids and pink mealybugs, and then you got nematodes in the soil and all that different stuff. So they have to spray heavily. So these are things. So why not give your people a nice chance and forget about those who are coming in? And when you hear others will say, "Oh, give your people a 5-year head start," and then get no, you're not going to head start a 5-year and give them, and then investors come in. Well, I am just speaking from my perspective, like everybody is speaking from their own perspective, and this is how I see things. I only see natives only. I mean, it's nothing else, I mean, I see citizens, I see native, son of the soil, indigenous. If you don't have your mother or your father born here, no, both parents have to family have to born here, have to family not one. Both. That's because this is sugar, brethren. We're only that small, so you got to protect this resource. Not like you're selling the passport and the people are benefiting, getting a 20 or $50,000 a year time, but then you're taking up our money and investing in other hotels and billions and millions of dollars. We got to get to that mentality, Virgin, and stop allowing these people to con us. It's kind of, and no, this is the conning us now. The blind can see the conning us. So, yeah, so that is what we got to say about that. I just wanted to put in that.
Well, Banky, as you were making that comment, right, a thought crossed my mind because I hear you talking about we have good farmers, and you were in relation to cannabis growers, right? And you were saying we
Yeah.
have good farmers, and you think we should have this niche market and so on, right? And as I listen to that, right, I cannabis is also under, at this point, at least that aspect of cannabis is also under the Ministry of Agriculture. And as I listen to you talking about good farmers, the evidence is there to prove your point, But the
Of
evidence is
course.
also there. The evidence is also there in agriculture to show that even though we have that point and we have evidence to show clearly
This support is not
that
there. That's the
point,
problem.
because here is it, to straight point, we have in Caribbean
You,
that,
you're breaking up, your son. You're breaking up. I didn't hear you saying you're
we
breaking
have,
up. Start over.
I was saying we have evidence in the Caribbean, right?
Yes.
That for 13 years back to back, a Nivision farmer representing the Caribbean is successful at becoming the #1 farmer in the region. And not just 1 year, not just demonstrating it 1 year, demonstrating it for 13 years. How much more evidence you want that Nevis have good farmers? But yet, we still have an import bill of nearly $200 million. And there's no evidence to show that the government is willing to empower some of these farmers who then know, because just like how you say so, and you're one too of the good farmers on Nevis who is demonstrating that y'all can produce, y'all can make the difference that we need to see.
Minor matters that, yes, and they know that minor matters.
In terms of interest, in terms of the investment, we hear a lot of lip service. We budget. The budget for agriculture has reduced significantly over the years. So how could you reduce the budget of agriculture and expect to see a change? How? People, as we're about to wrap up, I see a comment here. Is it an issue for politics when voters aren't seeing cannabis farming as a concern in the daily conversation of our homes and society? Not just the cultural believers such as the Rastafarians. Okay, let me go back to it. Let me read this comment in its entirety. Is it an issue for politics when voters aren't seeing cannabis farming as a concern in the daily conversation of our homes and society? Not just the cultural believers such as the Rastafarians and cannabis smokers. It needs to be a bigger social conversation for it to move. Plus, it has to be federal law for the issue to move in both countries. Example, which doctor in the federation are making the case for the medicinal aspect of the plant? The aspect of weed need to become more of a public conversation for it to be a political concern. I don't necessarily agree with you, Clyde. I don't agree with you with that. Let me show you why I would not agree with you with that. I won't agree with you with that because it is already a political concern. Because if it wasn't, they would not have gone in the House to make the laws. And because it is now decriminalized and is dealt with from a legal and a political standpoint, it is a political concern. And so the conversation to me, since we are paying them, and they're the ones who instituted it, they should be the ones also coming forward to explain and empower and embolden their electorate as to what they have done and what they can do with the industry. And I think also with them coming forward, even those who are not users and who are not a part of what you call them, you said what you said, Rastafarian and cultural believers. So those cultural believers and so on, even those who are not a part of that, they too would be, was, and is, should be a part of the discussion. And it is political because it is them who need to come and talk to us.
Yes,
and if they do, wait 1 second, Banky. If they do, then it would also help to make the conversation easier, knowing that those who are elected and at the helm come to the table and talk about it. Imagine you are the Minister of Agriculture. Cannabis has been placed under your ministry and you have not said anything. And this is an industry that the government is looking to make some money, and you are saying that you're seeking to use it to empower your people and you want to help to boost the agricultural industry by this, but at the same time, you're not saying anything. How? Go ahead, Banky.
The people, every aspect of people throughout the society, whether the traditional Rastafarians, those who use the herb and the cultural believers, even those church goers and different, it's everybody, so you don't, I always put it like this, those who use the herb, is like you don't know who use herb, it's just like you don't know who gay. You see, the herb thing are the same. You don't know who use herb. The people sitting next to you in your office, but they would not let you know they use herb because they figure out how you speak down on herb and all these things. They're very private with it. Whether they go to church every Sunday and this and that and whatever and put on the tie, you cannot, you only those you look at and put eyes up at them they use herb. And then anybody who have locks on the head use herb. I know many men who is Rasta who don't even smoke the herb. They might drink tea and different stuff like that. So the judging of the few that you see smoking the herb and different stuff. Many don't use the herb like that. Many use in different ways. And it goes, I have friends who are Christian and this and that, and everybody use herb. Police, everybody use herb. So
And this is why,
that's the whole.
and this is why those who are in those positions, those who are in some of these high positions, need to step up and be a part of the conversation because
the
as
stigma is still there.
Exactly, because when he asks you about which doctor in the federation are making a case for the medicinal aspect of the plant,
many doctors use
it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that as you just mentioned, Banky, as you just mentioned, because the doctor is that same doctor is within his profession, he's not just going to be looking at dealing with people who deal with cannabis. He still has to look at the feelings and the feedback of the people who are not associated with cannabis and how they're going to react to he coming out and talking like that, because we know how our people are. They're going to say, who he? We may not go back to he, since he come and talk about cannabis. So he has to still protect his business. And it's the same thing with some of the politicians as well too, because they're trying to win a seat and they feel if they come out and start to speak about cannabis, that maybe the supporters, especially the older ones, me gamble, me can't believe, me not go with, me not supporting no more, you come and talk about cannabis. So some of these things are why some of these politicians might not necessarily want to come forward. And even also too, within the Rastafari realm, because of the stigma attached to cannabis, when Rastafari have the march and the rally and so on, sometimes the same Rastafari and maybe even growers and so don't participate because of the fear of being associated as well too. So it is a fear in all of these sides that we're trying to dispel, and we're trying to say that those who now put the laws in place should come and tell the people exactly what's going on, should have a moratorium in the meantime. Since you ain't put your regulations in place, stop lock up people, stop pull up people trees until you have your licenses and whatever you have in place. In the meantime, you should have a moratorium on anything to do with cannabis. That is how it should be. And then engage the conversation. Those who are at the helm, come and have town hall meetings. Just like how the authorities having town hall meetings, Mr. Evelyn, Mr. Jeffrey Hanley, and Mr. Samuel Duggins and the team should be having this discussion.
Yes, sir.
Use it and make a case for it. It is different, just like you said. I said a more public and social conversation need to be have in order to move it. Well, my brethren, we have been begging for that conversation. For the 5 years, we have been asking for all of these officials that who have been pushing the cannabis issue to come and let's talk about it. We would have had an audience from the premier sometime back. Sometime back, the premier came and talked about cannabis with us. But other than that, in terms of Nevis, we have not heard anything. And I think he did that even before cannabis was pushed under the Ministry of Agriculture. Since it has been under the Ministry of Agriculture, we have not heard anything from the minister and Nevis. But since it has moved forward. And so these are some of the issues that I'm talking about. So what I am saying is the Minister of Agriculture and Nevis is responsible for bringing the issues where medical cannabis is concerned to the people of Nevis. That is what we are paying you for. On the other side, in terms of the recreational or personal use and religious or spiritual use, we don't have a minister of ecclesiastic affairs and Nevis. We don't know if there is an arm responsible on Nevis for that. So the Nevision public at this point is ignorant as to what they will do in regards to the 56 grams, in regards to getting a license for the 5 trees, in regards to getting a license for a place if they want to have a place like a culture armor is coming up. Let's say 5 trees or some other place want to have a smoking zone. They don't know who, if they have somebody in Nevis that they could go to get a license, or if they have to go to St. Kitts. What I am saying is we need to have this public discussion, and the people who are at the helm need to come to the public. And at Nevis, the government need to come and tell the people what is going on, because it is in their realm, and that's what we are paying them for. So, brethren and sistren and people, it was nice to have the engagement and nice to be a part of the discussion. I want to welcome you guys back to another edition of the Topics next week, Tuesday. It's every Tuesday at 8 o'clock right here on Real Entertainment Network. We are on Twitch TV, we are on YouTube, we're on the Facebook platform. Please, to YouTube, look for Real Entertainment Network on YouTube. Subscribe, like, and share. That's what it is. For those of you who follow Facebook, you know that Facebook has set up the new rules where they say videos are going to be cut every 30 days. So they're only going to last for 30 days, but we're going to store, so you're going to be able to go back and repeat and listen to this on the YouTube platform. So we're encouraging you to go to the YouTube platform. Yes, man, Clyde, enough respect for the engagement, and you're open anytime to be a part of the discussion. If you want to be a part of the discussion, you can reach out anytime, and we can add you and be a part of the discussion, because we want to have as many different voices. You don't have to agree with me, and even Banky will let you know, because this is how we here on the platform is. Me and Banky from time to time don't necessarily agree on the same points, but we have our debates and our exchanges, and at the end of the day, that's it. We come back the next week and we add it again. And we want to be able to encourage people to have that level of discourse without being upset or angry or with one another, but we could disagree to agree, and we could have our differences in points and views and so on. And so, enough respect for the engagement, and enough respect to everybody else who would have came in and be a part of the show and would have had your input. Like I said, we look forward to having you next week, Tuesday, but we will be here again on Friday with another edition of Everything Agriculture on the Real Entertainment Network. So, people, one love, guidance, and protection. As I leave, I want to encourage folks to, support Tafari's Plant Nursery, our Peta Plant project. We want to make sure that everybody buy a plant and take care of a fruit tree, take care of a plant. If you don't want to go all the way to Fountain, we collaborate with Shabba's Organics, and so you can always stop at Mansa's last stop there at Catesby. Ask Shabba's about the plants. One of the special plants that's going right now is the strawberry. A lot of people love the strawberries, and so if you're looking for a strawberry plant, you can always link up Shabba's and check us out. We want to, that's a part of our food sovereignty project. We grow the veggies, and so you can get that from Shabba's. But in terms of fruit trees, we want people to be able to plant a mango tree, plant an apple tree, plant a gooseberry, a plum, so that not just you, but your children and your grandchildren later on could eat off of that tree and say, "Boy, my grandmother had planted that, and my grandfather had planted that." And as we do this, if everybody can plant even one tree, where we have a population of about 10, 12,000 people on Nevis, that's 12,000 new trees that would be planted on the island. So it would be a part of the food sovereignty and food security efforts. So that is my part, and that is our part, I would say. Shabbas is collaborating with me to ensure that we make this a reality. So with that said,
let me just
people...
let me just add this part here, son. Let me just add, also, apart from strawberry, you have a different fruit trees. You have your English plum, those are two the traditional fruit trees, so orange, and you have different coconut trees, tamarind trees, also cane fig. It's African cane, along with other fruit trees and stuff like that. Also, we do tours. You can also, for our locals, it's 5 easy. You come, you get a tour of the farm. Also, children $1, $2, and for tourists and stuff like that. But the price is in the US, Also, you can just, if you just want to come on the farm and chill out, the fellows come in and just find a place, chill, relax, eat your lunch, enjoy the scenery and the nice breeze and stuff like that, just for different settings. You understand? Also, right now we have mangoes, emipali, and available, and regular pali, and also we have star fruit on the trees. You come and pick your star fruit yourself. You choose them, and you pay $10 or $1 a pound. So we have watermelon coming in within a couple of weeks. So we just keep it. And also we have jelly water available. Just $5 for jelly every day. And when you pass, you'll see the stand outside. We're at this stand. If you don't see me there, because I'm at the back in the farm doing a run, but you just blow your horn and I'll come back out and attend to you. But I just maneuver back and forth because you understand it. There's something I was there to do in a sense like that. Even observing the farm, because remember we will have to have this and the next Friday talk about this monkey issue. I mean, I don't have any issues, but there are farmers who just can't harvest anything. I'm a full-time farmer, so I'm be able to mine my farm and to harvest all my crops, my melon, my mangoes. Right now I have a lot of avocados coming in, so definitely, yes, on everything is looking like soursop is on the trees also. So everything is just coming in lovely, so I can't complain and give thanks for the support always of the general public who show the support and love what I'm doing and keeping my legacy alive. And this is what is important, why I keep mentioning we need to rename a lot of our streets after those who have served within the community for years, whether it's in the agricultural sector, the fishing industry, or in whatever it is, good upstanding still who made a contribution and change these names of these colonial people that we have around here. Craddock Road, who is he? You understand? Pennies, who is that? Me don't know who them they be. Erase those names, brethren. Cause they like to erase names, so erase those back too. That is how man see things. But just wanted to say give thanks for the support to those who support. And also on Fridays, you'll have your local cook-up and stuff like that will be done. And on Saturdays, you have your soul food, your car meal and fish, your fungi and fish and your mutton, your oxtail, your pies and all the soul food. You put in your orders. I just drop by because the food go really, really fast because got to big up my cousins, Amonis and Aisha, two great chefs.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Finger licking soul food, you know what I mean? Traditional, what I'm putting is traditional recipes passed down for years that to them. So the way of the cook is just how the grandparents were cooking and the mom be cooking and the customers do. So I big up people like Cut and William Morton who come over all the time, and the others who come by and have their lunch on Saturdays and those who pass on Fridays and stuff like that. So I know my uncle would be smiling and see what the great works that his nephew and his children them is keeping up, and so and the community is supporting it, and it's a beautiful thing. Yes, and everything is working out fine. So it's all about consistency, and that's it. So just wanted to say thanks, and it's always go to show appreciation because they can choose to go and spend the money somewhere else. So it's always good to show gratitude. So just wanted to put that in.
All right, give thanks. And I'm just going to wrap up with the last set of comments here and let the Real Entertainment Network take it away. We have Donna Karen Henry asking if in St. Kitts the strawberries. Well, the strawberries are in Nevis, but you can always call Shabbas and they could make arrangements with you to get them over to if you do want them over on St.
If
Kitts.
you have anybody in Nevis, that can just come and pick them up and get them down to them. Because it's difficult for me to leave the farm. You see what I mean? Yes.
Okay, so it can be arranged though. So you can get that worked out. Aaron Otto Heiliger was asking if any shaddock trees. Haven't seen those in years.
No.
But not
right
at this moment. But eventually, maybe we will be able to work around that. So
I planted over 35, 40 sugar shaddock trees in Indian Castle. They never still exist, along with all different varieties of citrus. And when I left those way they were over 7 feet.
Do we have a farmers association? Who are the ones who engage in conversation to those who were elected and appointed to aid, provide, and represent the people of our nation with relations to agriculture? I think there are several farmers associations and cooperatives on the
Case we
island.
have one, New River have one. Case we New River.
How often do they meet, and are they agitating as we are speaking to the ministers and so on? That those are things that I am not too certain about, but we can definitely follow up and find out, and we will seek to, at some point, invite some of them to our platform as much as possible, and we could have them, hear their voice, and if they need to encourage other members and so on, give them that opportunity. May he live on in the work you and your guys keep doing. Okay, I guess he's talking about Mansa.
Yeah, man,
Well,
give thanks,
people,
man.
with,
Appreciate
with,
that.
with that said, I want to give thanks to Ira and Alan and, Reese and Chev and, all of the other good people there at Real Entertainment Network. Really give thanks for the opportunity to be on the platform and to really keep things going here with you guys. Want to say good evening to my mom. I see my Daniel and the rest of my sisters and siblings over on that side. Enough respect everybody, guidance and protection. Until we come your way again on Friday, enough love, give thanks. Ira, enough respect. Yeah, so I guess I guess it's just that time. Until I guess I'll probably say a word or two until Ira is ready to take us away. But enough respect, everybody. Gonna take guys next. See you guys on Friday. That is.